I'm Roddric Sims, the business reality coach, your host for today's session. I'm here with a good friend and founder of Maroon Sausage Company, Howard Allen. We're going to get into a nice discussion of his entrepreneurial journey. And so before we get too much in detail here, just want to make sure everyone understands it, let them know that they're not the only person out there doing this and that you don't necessarily be perfect as an entrepreneur because it is definitely a journey. And so with that being said, I'm going to bring Howard Allen into the conversation. So Howard, good Lord, how are you today, sir?
All is well, all is well. Thank you for having me.
Hey, first of all, man, I appreciate you making time for today's conversation. I see you're out and about making it happen on one of your deliveries. So I appreciate you taking your time to feed into the community and let us know what entrepreneurs truly are, man. So with that being the case, hey, Howard, can you give us a little bit of background on you as an entrepreneur?
Sure. Like you said, Howard Allen, I'm the creator and founder of Maroon Sausage Company. We're in Brooklyn, New York, and our focus is Caribbean-inspired sausage and bacon. It's something that I developed 7 years ago in my apartment here in Brooklyn, and still doing it.
All right, good stuff. Obviously, anybody, I always ask entrepreneurs before I get into a coaching session with them or meet them, how long you been in business? If they say more than 3 years, I just say congratulations, because that tends to be, you know, the turning point for you to prove that you actually have a concept that works. So, hey, man, congratulations to you for being in this business and doing this thing for 7 years. So
Thanks.
Definitely want to hear a little bit more about that journey. But, hey, we got some predetermined questions that we talked about already. And so we want to jump into these a little bit so to get your opinion and your thoughts and your feedback here. So number one, Howard, when did you know that entrepreneurship was the right thing for you?
Man, you know, I came to New York, over 20 years ago to do design work. And, you know, in that journey, I wasn't able to find like a corporate gig right away. So I started freelancing. And, you know, that's a form of entrepreneurship because you don't have a full-time gig. You're going from project to project, company to company.
Correct.
And I felt comfortable in that zone. And I thought about, you know, entrepreneurship when I was an undergrad, but it really struck me that I wanted to go there when I went to grad school at Pratt in 2005.
So when you, was there a certain day when you just said, hey, I'm going to do this, when you decided on Maroon Sausage? Or did you do any other stair steps before you, obviously you freelanced, or it was just a natural transition into it?
Man, it was more of me coming to the realization that, you know, working in corporate environments wasn't necessarily for me in the long term. I liked learning in those environments, but, you know, being from the design end of marketing, my mind was bigger than what they were allowing me to do. Okay. I felt that I could do a lot more for those organizations than just design their marketing materials. So I felt pinned in by being in a corporate environment. So right. I was like, yeah, I'm going to ultimately end up doing my own thing.
Okay, fantastic. Because some people, sometimes they'll say, hey, there was this one phone call. My boss looked at me wrong. I didn't get the raise I expected. And that was it. I just knew automatically, you know, like that's right. It, I'm done. So it wasn't that for you. It was just, from what I heard you say, it's just an aggregation.
Right.
You just gradually got to it like, yeah, I'm done. All right, well, great. So how did you come up with the idea for Maroon Sausage?
Oh, man, that was like a couple of things that just built on themselves again. Like, yeah, I knew that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, but I didn't know what. I thought because I got a degree in graphic design that it was supposed to be graphic design. However, I started messing around with a friend of mine who was in the food business. He wanted to do a mobile food business. And we started talking about the types of products you could put in the mobile food space. And we landed on sausage. Ultimately, we started doing research and thought about, you know, adding jerk seasoning to a sausage, what would that be like? And thought about it. He was actually supposed to execute it, and I was just supposed to do, what I do, which is, branding. But he ended up tabling the idea and not doing it. And I asked him if I could run with the idea, and he said yes. So from there, I just started learning how to make sausage. I'd never made sausage before, and I just started with a kitchen stand, a KitchenAid stand mixer with the sausage attachments, and started from there. Looking at YouTube, learning how to make sausage. When I started messing around with the seasoning, that's when it became real. Like, you can tell just from the very first conceptual pieces that I was doing, like, yo, this is something that's different, but it's still just sausage. So it's accessible. It's just a different take on something that everybody knows how to cook. And then to come up with like the concept behind the brand, I started thinking about the origins of the seasoning itself. It comes from the Maroon people in Jamaica. So why not name the company after the people who created the flavor itself? Make it an homage to those people. And, the colors of the packaging come from the flag Ghana, because the African people who we call the Maroons today are originally from Ghana. And that flavor that they created mimics Ghanaian dish. So why not just keep it on that note? So, the roots of the company is really steeped in that.
All right. I mean, that's fantastic. And thanks for the history lesson as well. You definitely appreciate it. Now we can get our entrepreneurial journey story, but we can also get some, Black history. And I appreciate you, brother.
No problem. No problem. That's what it's, that's how I'm come at that. I think products with stories are the most successful products, whether it be food or something else. If you can put a culture, something cultural around a product, it gives people something to talk about when they engage with your product. So for me, that was just a natural click for me.
Okay, great. What's the you talk about your entrepreneurial journey? What's the most interesting story or experience you've had as a founder and owner of Maroon Sausage?
Interesting story.
Yeah, or experience you want to share.
I think because I make sausage, everyone, for some reason goes to sexual innuendos. And I don't know how that ends up happening, but it always goes to that place where, you have, men and women who are like, yo, I love your sausage. And it's just like, so one day I was, I'm still working full time when I'm creating this, right? I'm still working, and I'm in Grand Central Station where my office is. And I get on the elevator trying to go to the office. And this woman who works with me jumps on the elevator, and it's New York City, right? Pre-pandemic, Midtown, Grand Central Station, full of people. Right. She jumps on the elevator and says, I love your sausage. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, you know what? That's one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever experienced in an elevator.
Right. Well, now you're a celebrity. Or your sausage is a celebrity. Wait, right. or your company's a celebrity. Wait, I don't even know how to word it to make it safe. So
it's ridiculous.
So I can definitely imagine that. So yeah, I guess you have to balance those out. I guess I guess you've heard 100 of them. I guess you're gonna probably hear 100 more.
A million. I heard a million.
That's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. So hey, let's move into the next question I have here for you, sir. That question is, let's say, finish this statement for me. As you see behind me, I think entrepreneurs are rock stars. So for you, entrepreneurs are fill in the blank.
I think entrepreneurs are innovators.
Yeah.
I think in order to do this, you can't come to this game without the ability to be prolific with the ideas and the ability to see and read in between the lines, almost be able to see the future. If you can't do that, then you're going to end up creating what's already been created, and it's going to probably be flat.
Fantastic.
You know?
Yeah, I would definitely believe in that, man. Innovation is key. It's not necessarily creating something new all the time. It's just making something better and doing it differently. So I definitely feel that statement, and have seen it happen many and many times before. What has been, you feel like, your biggest innovation with your product and services?
You know, the beauty of the sausage game is that it's not very innovative at all. And
Okay.
if you just come from a slightly different angle, you know, you have something new, right? It doesn't take a lot of work. Innovation always, when people think about it, is technical, right?
Right.
But it can also be in nuance of flavor. You know, Caribbean-inspired sausage and bacon. You know, those flavors exist. Sausage and bacon already exist.
Right.
I'm just putting them together. You know, every country in the world has its own sausage, but because, you know, the United States is rooted in Western European culture, you only get like 5 sausages, right, in a general market. But everyone has sausage. You know, all throughout Africa, throughout Asia, all the other European countries, Eastern European countries, all have sausage. It's just because the United States is steeped in Western European culture. You're going to get Italian, German, and Polish, right? And that's pretty limited, but it gives you the ability to say, yo, there's space for other things if you can execute well. And that's my focus, is simple but well executed product.
Right. Well, I thought the innovative thing about your sausage, I'm not sure if you touched bases on this or even said, is that your sausage, Maroon Sausage, is chicken, right?
Chicken, non-pork. Right.
Chicken, non-pork, right. So does that allow it to be have a niche appeal or more of a mass appeal? Or what would you say it would, how it appeals to the market?
The beauty of doing a sausage that does not contain pork is it plays both, right? Anyone can eat it. It doesn't have any religious limitations. Muslims, Jews, Christians can eat it. Hindus can eat it. It can go almost anywhere. And the flavor profile of West Indian food hits on several notes. So it's got a little African influence, a little Indian influence. So it can go in several different directions. So it's very flexible in terms of how you can position it in the market. Right now, we have it focused on specialty grocery stores and restaurants. Those are the people who are, you know, when you go into those spaces, they're more inclined to explore and try to find new and interesting things. And the price point isn't as crucial in those spaces. So that's the way I approach it.
All right. Fantastic. So would you say the most innovative thing about your sausage is that it's chicken, or is it the flavor, that it's more of a Caribbean spice? Or
I think it's 2 things. I think the fact that it's, you know, non-pork,
okay,
and it's the flavor. You know, people love Caribbean food, but they can't cook it, you know, unless they're from the Caribbean. Right. That's what their focus is. I'm just making it easy for them to access that flavor.
Right. As I see some of your social media, I see you with a shirt on that says "Keep it spicy."
Right, right. That's both flavor and lifestyle.
Okay. That's good stuff, man. It's great to hear. All right, so entrepreneurs are innovators, which is great, and thank you for sharing how Maroon Sausage is innovative as well. Next question. Let's see here. I always talk about entrepreneurship facts. You know, being I consider myself the business reality coach. I'm steeped in reality. I like to know the numbers. I like to know the facts. And so I want to share this fact with you and get your opinion on your thoughts initially, what you think about it, and then just talk a little bit about, you know, more about how you think your experience with it. So the fact I have here is this. Founders surveyed report that 80% of their businesses that failed never had a business plan. So when you hear that, Howard, how does that resonate with you? What do you think?
You know, my graduate degree is in design management, and it's basically an MBA program for designers. So, you know, the first thing you do is learn the elements of a business plan. And I'm a strong believer in business plans. However, business plans are not written in stone. They are living documents. You know, especially in environment that we're living in right now, where you got pandemics, crazy dips in the market. You have to be flexible, and your plan needs to adjust as the times change. So you absolutely need a plan, but the plan isn't going to stay the same during the life of the organization. As the organization grows, the plan is going to change.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you wholeheartedly. As I talk to my clients a lot of times, I try to break it down to 3 different pieces of, they have a full-blown business plan. When you actually are trying to go get some financing, a bank is going to expect you to show them not only what you're doing, but how you're going to get their money back. So that's when you need that 20, 30-page document. If you're going into, maybe getting some, as I call love loans, friends, family, I talk about a business proposal, about 10 pages, about what you're doing, how you're doing it, who's going to work with you, how the product is going to sell, who's your customer, things of that nature. And I think that's good to go get some money from some people that love you, who aren't necessarily banks, because banks don't love you. So just people who love you. And then I say a business summary, which is like a 1 or 2 pager, which is basically for you as an individual. So you have an outline of what you're actually doing as a business owner. Fundamentally, can you make money, and how do you make money in business?
Right.
So I tend to do that with people because I see that a lot of times building out business plans will have paralysis by analysis. So a business plan, I always share with people that I think everyone should do a business plan, but the length of the plan really varies depending on who you're trying to put it in front of. If it's just you, if it's friends and family, or if it's an institutional investor or something of that nature, you have to have different levels and different expectations. But I think everybody should have a business plan because it's pretty much your guideline on what direction you're going. Fundamentally, I ask people, hey, do you know how much money can you make in your business? They have no idea. Well, how many products do you need to sell in order to get your income goals? They don't know. How many clients do you need to get in front of on a daily basis in order to, from a conversion ratio standpoint, hit your activity goals necessary to get your income? I don't know. Doing that business summary basis going to give you the ability to make sure you understand what you need to do on a daily basis to run the business. And I just think a lot of business owners don't do that.
They may do it in the outset, possibly, and I'm going to give business owners benefit of the doubt. You may do that, and then you get into it, and things aren't what you expected. you get lost in the sauce real quick.
Exactly.
In a year into it, things are just very different, and you just trying to keep up with what you're doing.
Right.
And any money you make is enough money.
Right.
Which is funny, but at the same time, you need to really stay on top of your goals, or else you're going to be in a losing battle.
Yeah. Well, and that's partly, people hire me for, to help hold them accountable, make sure they're staying on top of it. Because again, at the end of the day, it's things about making money, right? And sometimes, because a lot of times, and I agree with you, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. So a lot of times you get caught up in working in the business versus working on the business. I just think the business planning aspect allows you to be proactive and drive the business the way you want it to go. If you're not proactive, you end up going somewhere where the business takes you as a business owner, right? And
you don't want to be a passenger. You don't want to be a passenger.
Exactly. So the business will take you some places, and you'll look up and say, how did I get here, right? It might be someplace you don't want to go. But if you do, and it might take you someplace you want to go, but at least you know what the destination is, right? At the end of the day, there should be no surprises. Again, let's step back. You have to pivot. Your customer's going to tell you what they really want from you. Entrepreneurship is a journey, so that means it's not a straight path. There's some roadblocks. There's some bridges washed out. There's some tunnels that have collapsed, and you just have to find some different ways to get there. So I'm not saying that, but you definitely have to have an understanding of where you're going and how you plan to get there, so you can make those necessary adjustments. So that's great, man. So, but as far as the number, do you feel about that at 80% of people who fail? It's not saying that 80% of business owners fail. It's just saying that 80% of founders who fail.
I don't know that I know enough entrepreneurs to even make a educated guess on that. Most of the people that I know have jobs, right? And I'm very different than the people that I'm around. So I don't know if I can actually intelligently speak to that question about 80%, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
A lot of the businesses that we walk in that are small businesses, no, they don't feel as though they have a plan in place. They're just there.
Right. They're just living life.
They're just, yeah, the business is functioning, whether that functionality is high or low, depends, but it's there.
Right, exactly. So good stuff. Well, I appreciate that. All right, sir. So we're getting close to getting to the end of our conversation. I definitely appreciate you, man. But before we wrap up here, sir, any words of wisdom you have for entrepreneurs out there along their journey who are saying, hey, this thing is challenging, not sure, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? Should I pivot? Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, man, I think if there's anything that I've learned on this journey in business and in life is to be patient with yourself. You know, you may have ideas, you may have thoughts and feelings about what you're doing, but you have to allow those things to develop. You know, they gotta develop in terms of timing and the market, and in terms of people's ability to grasp the ideas that you have. Now, that isn't my first instinct. I had to learn to be patient. You know,
Okay.
New York is in place where people are patient. You have to learn how to manage that. But I think it's important because I found that a lot of the times my ideas were slightly ahead of their time. I would be talking to, when I came out of grad school, I was talking about stuff that, you know, Fortune 100 companies weren't even thinking about yet. You know, they weren't thinking about that until they weren't executing those things until after I left those companies.
Right.
So, you know, the ideas that I had in my head were slightly ahead of where the market was. And coming up with Maroon, I don't think it's a new idea because there are other jerk chicken sausages on the market. I think my approach to it is different because I have the ability to approach it from my unique perspective. And getting people to engage with me takes time because I'm different and I have to be patient. And other entrepreneurs are going to encounter the same thing.
Fantastic. Well, definitely patience is the key. Usually I look at businesses and say you really won't know until about year 3 if you actually have a business. And a lot of people, my clients will say that's a long time. You know, is that really truly realistic? What are your thoughts with that? Do you think it takes you a few years to really figure out if you got a successful business or not? Or do you think that, hey, you know it immediately?
I took an approach that was like trickles, you know, into developing the product. You know, I was using my own money so I could take time to do it. So it took me like 3 years to even decide whether or not I had a viable product.
Okay.
And then I started to talk to like investors and stuff like that, and banks, and ended up not really using those tools, and just kind of feeling my way around the situation because I had the money, the capital to do that. So it takes me time. So I would rather take my time and do it the way that I want it done than to rush into it because I need to make a profit right away. I think I'm in year 7 and I'm just getting to the place where I'm engaging business the way that I want to engage, right? You know, I started out doing events, then we slowly transitioned into a packaged product that goes into grocery stores. But my real goal, my bigger goal was to develop a product that we can export abroad. And I'm just having those conversations now.
All right, fantastic. Howard, as far as being in your business full time, I'm assuming you're in your business full time now, but how long have you been how long have you been full time in your business?
Maybe like 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Yeah. You know, like I said, I was working full time in the beginning. I had 2 jobs in the beginning.
Okay.
You know, I was teaching, I was a professor, and I was working full time when I started this.
Okay.
And I left my gig in maybe 2016, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2016. So since, you know, I had to take some time to decide whether or not I was actually going to do this full time. You know, I was like, yo, I just had another kid. Do I need to go out and get a kid with some benefits, or could my wife and I really make this work? And, you know, by the grace of God, we've been able to just take our time with it. And it's been a struggle, but we've been able to make the best of the situation.
All right, fantastic. Well, just for clarity, what I heard you say was, hey, you worked, you know, 2 jobs, really until you actually proved your concept that you had a viable product. And then once you did, you launched into it full time. Does that timeline sound about right?
Yeah, man. Doing the events here in New York, you get the perspective of everybody in the world, because everybody in the world is here, right? So I was doing like food festivals on the weekends. So Saturday and Sundays, you know, I'd be out cooking in the streets and in the parks at food festivals. And, you know, the rest of the week I was in a suit and tie in the office. But I realized very quickly that not only was the product viable in terms of its flavor, people were immediately willing to pay for it. You know, I was coming to work on Monday morning, making deposits in the bank that were just as large as my check from the corporation that I was working for. And I was like, see, there's something to be said for this right here. You know what I'm saying? And I created it all. It's all my ideas. So why not just bet on myself?
All right, fantastic. Hey, I definitely believe in betting on yourself, man. So, but I like the stair-step approach you took to it. Hey, I'm not leaving my job immediately. You weren't forced into it. You were like, hey, it's something I want to do. Let me try at it. Let me get people's opinions. You know, what some people would say focus groups. Your focus group was going actually out to the people at these events and letting them taste it. You proved your concept through actually people purchasing it. And when you saw that, hey, my income I'm getting outside doing this on the weekends equates to what I'm making in a week in my corporate position, this may be something to it. And then at that point, you said, you know what, let's go ahead after you convinced your wife. All right. After she saw the checks, it was like, oh, okay, you actually are making some money. Okay,
not checks, bro, straight up cash. Nothing's better than cash. It's king. You know this. When you can literally develop a product in your house, take it out in the streets, sell it, come back with a knot of cash legitimately and be like, here, put this on the table. And then have you know, I did this whole process with my daughter, who was about 6 or something at the time.
Okay.
You know, I got her working in the booth. She's counting money. She's looking at it. She's like, yeah, I want to work for myself. I see what my dad's doing.
Okay.
So I don't need to work for anyone else. I can work for my dad, or I can come up with something on my own. So it does have a reverberating effect to your family when you can actually execute and like demonstrate, you know, this is how it works. Come up with something that people love, and they'll pay you for it.
Yeah, most definitely. They love it. They'll pay you for it, and they'll pay you good money too. Especially the more, you know, they enjoy it, the more they like your story. But hey, I also like the fact that you're exposing. I did tell people a lot of times exposure is one of the key things to being a successful entrepreneur. I'm glad to see you're exposing the little one to it early. So you've going to create a monster. She's going to be like, hey, I work for myself, and y'all playing with this corporate check when I can go out here and generate more income on my own. So hey, yeah, love that, man. So that's good stuff, man. So definitely thanks for sharing. So Howard, what's next for your business, sir?
Yo, man, right now, I am working on there are 2 things. You know, you're always working to get into stores. So building relationships with distributors, trying to get this product outside of New York City is always, you know, on the table. But the other new thing that I'm doing is one of my line brothers introduced me to a gentleman who's going to have a chat with me about getting product into West Africa. You know, my goal was to get product into West Africa and the Caribbean, because that's where the flavors originated. So it just makes the most sense. And, you know, the cat who came up with the concept for Walmart, Mr. Walton, said, you go where your competitors are not, right? And that's why Walmart ended up in rural communities, because nobody else is going there. By the time they saw him as a competitor, they couldn't do anything. He was too big. And I think I want to take a similar approach and figure out a strategy that will enable me to get into Ghana and Nigeria and develop markets there and expand towards Asia with a non pork product in Western Africa, where there's a huge Muslim population and nobody's serving them what I'm serving. I think this is easy money.
Well, that's a great story about Sam Walton, as they say, see a need, feel a need, go where they aren't, when no one else, where your competition isn't. So that's a fantastic one, man. So
Yeah.
I applaud you in doing that. So that's the next big step. So really international expansion is what I'm hearing from Maroon Sausage.
Yeah, man, that's definitely high on my list of priorities, even though, it's not like I'm in stores in California or anything. We're not a national brand or anything, but the perspective of the company is very much international, and there's no reason why we shouldn't try to play in those markets if we have the capital and the relationships to do so.
Most definitely. Well, yeah, there's a very broader market outside the United States. So yeah, obviously companies that are really making significant amount of money as from a corporate standpoint are those who are international conglomerates now. So, you can, how can you 10x, 100x your revenue getting into another specific market, especially if you're the early entrant to that market with an innovative product that they don't have. So definitely look forward to seeing that expansion and being able to reach out to you to get a loan when all that cash starts rolling in.
You're not going to know the difference. I'm gonna still look like I'm broke.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what they say. That's what the true wealthy are. The true wealthy still look broke.
Yeah, I'm still living in the same hood.
But I'm gonna know. I'm gonna get the feeling. I'm like, you know what? I think Howard is rich. Let me. Or when I'm on social media and I see you over in Ghana doing a business meeting, then I'm going to say, okay, ding, ding, ding. There it is. Time to get in line. Good stuff, man. All right, sir. Now we're actually officially going to wrap up before we leave, man. Somebody wants to reach out to you to contact you, learn more about your story, learn more about your product, and hear about any additional things and your future plans, what's the best way to contact you?
Go to our website, maroonsausage.com, and all the contact information is there. The backstory about the products there, the different flavors of sausage are outlined there. So definitely check that out. Other than that, man, you can follow me on Instagram, Maroon Sausage. That's another place where we engage people who are interested in everything from food to lifestyle stuff. People who are interested in specialty items. So yeah, definitely social media is another way to get our attention.
All right, sir. Fantastic. Well, Howard, hey, I truly appreciate your time, sir, learning about Maroon Sausage. That people love your sausage. That you run around with stacks of cash in your hand. That you're creating another little entrepreneurial monster in your house, which is going to be your daughter. Yeah. And that I expect to see Maroon Sausage in Ghana soon, man. So, hey, a lot of great information today, man. I appreciate you sharing you with us, with me and with us, and benefiting the community and other entrepreneurs out here by sharing your story and motivating and providing insight to the fact that, hey, entrepreneurs are innovators, like you stated, and it's a full journey. And I look forward to staying connected with you, brother, and learning more about the business, seeing it explode and expand, and continue to help support entrepreneurs like yourself and our community along their journey. So, hey, thank you, sir. And let's do this again when you blow up.
Yo, man, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And, we'll be in touch. Tell
All right.
Kemper Powell I'm looking for him.
Yeah, I am too, brother. I am too. All right.
All right.